Choose the right 2 lanes to keep right.
Hey friends, it is Wednesday, August 25, 2021, and it's time to prepare to go there. Thanks for being on. I'm convinced this is the most overlooked and underrated coaching conversation on the internet today. And that's my opinion, but I'm just convinced that the future deserves our focus. And we're going to take action today. We're going to do the necessary unnoticed preparation so that way when we show up ready. My name is Peter, and I want to welcome you back to the Future Frontier, where we are going on a extended coaching journey with friends and leaders alike, those that want to stay focused on the future practically, and then we're figuring out how to lead ourselves there day by day. You know, I have really observed and experienced in my own life this reality. Most people don't know how to lead others into a better future because they don't know how to lead themselves there first. So, self leadership is the overall theme of Prepare to Go There. It is the motivation behind a lifestyle of preparation. And I just believe that there are friends and leaders out there that don't want to be a burden, they want to be a strength. And they realize that even if they get, helped with a convenient lifestyle, that it's not really helping anybody in the long run. And so, really, this is a movement towards empowerment. And I want to invite you into it. Prepare to Go There is your call to action. And the two big topics that we cover often will be how to focus practically on the future, and then how to lead yourself there tactically day by day. And, focus is so important. I think if anything, this is more about, macro focus. It's more about that long haul lifestyle. Yes, we can and should be having deep work and creative contributions, and so I'm all for having the deep dive work day. In fact, we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. But really, that focused lifestyle is the attitude and the lifestyle approach of preparation, that the things we're doing today really don't make sense yet unless and until you put it in context of a bigger narrative. And then when you put it in context of what's important, what's possible, where you're going, who you're becoming, then all these things kind of find their place and their purpose. And so many times we get frustrated with where we are today. We feel like not a lot's happening, or things are, stacked up against us, and we just generally feel like quitting. And we have to learn how to focus on the future practically, not escaping or daydreaming or just kind of fantasizing of some imaginary utopia, not kind of blame shifting everything onto the internet, but really personalizing what is in our control, what is not in our control, not getting the two mixed up, and staying focused practically. As far as leading yourself tactically, it's just inspired by the idea that we can be organized, and that as we live and lead, we can be mobilized as well. We can make a difference. We can go the distance. And there are some specific strategies, mindsets, skill sets that we can begin to practice day by day that we get better at. And then that creates this, compound effect to force multiply our lifestyle, our leadership into legacy. So that's the big idea. If this resonates with you, I want to invite you, come be a part of the email community. I call it the Future Friends because you are committed to make the future better than the present, and you realize it's not by, procrastinating your your progress or even your joy, but it's about enjoying the journey and making every day count. And one of the best ways to do that is with good company, people that are going to encourage you, content that's going to keep you grounded and equipped for the challenge at hand. And, you know, what better way to do it than with the future friends in this email community? So, I have a link at the bottom of this video, and it's also available at peterbirchfield.com. You can click that link and look for the fail-proof planning guide. You put your name and email, download that PDF instantly, and you are in the email community. Um, I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end, but I want to move on because there is a big announcement, and that is that this Friday, literally just a few days from here, we are celebrating the 50th live stream of Prepare to Go There. It's a huge accomplishment for me. This is my first time going live on YouTube, and now I'm looking back, it's been like over 10 weeks. And so I've been enjoying showing up daily, literally daily for almost 10 weeks consecutively. There was 1 week I was not on. It was a scheduled vacation that I went with my wife and some of our friends. But ever since then, it has just been so much fun to really have a goal and then to go for it. So we're going to celebrate in a big way. And what I wanted to do is announce 5 winners that are going to join my next leadership mastermind. This is one of my, funnest parts of the job, so to speak. It's when I get to hang out with friends and leaders in a deep dive mastermind, and it's long. I mean, we're going to go about 90 minutes, and we're going to be talking about future focused leadership. How do we develop the mindsets and the skill sets that help us, look forward and not feel fragile about the future, but actually think and lead agile. So that way we're adapting, we're improvising, we're owning opportunities, and we're leading other people with a really good example. And so I want to show you the post that you can get to. This is what it looks like on my Instagram at Peter Birchfield. And then you can basically put your name in the running by commenting or reposting. And I'm going to click on that real quick just so I can share the information. But like how to enter, make sure you're subscribed to the email list. The link will be in the bio as well to sign up. You can comment below on which strategy you're excited to learn, which I'll share in a second. And then when you put in your friends, you tag your friends, you'll get 1 extra entry per tag. And then if you repost that Instagram post, then you'll get 15 bonus entries. So if you repost that post on your Instagram feed, I'll basically multiply your chances 15, and so we'll keep it fun that way. Some of the topics that we're gonna hit, like I said, fit into future focused leadership. So which self leadership practices are most important to model to your team? How to communicate new ideas effectively. That's really important if you are a part of some sort of, leadership transition, or if you're launching into some new team territory. And then another topic is calendar strategies to accomplish your mission critical goals on time. So important. Identifying the future of what you do in the middle of disruption, and then growing a community of leaders that will take on anything together. So I'm super excited about this. We're going to be announcing the winners. There are going to be 5 people that are joining into a leadership mastermind that I'm hosting. And with the mastermind plus these 5 spaces, we're going to have it, packed with a lot of fun and value and strategies to help you level up as a leader. And then We'll actually have that leadership mastermind about a week after that. I think it's the first Saturday in September. So we'll get those folks, those details. It's in the post as well. All right. With that said, let's jump into the conversation at hand. And we've been on a kind of a week-long conversation about getting yourself going. We have to learn the value of personal momentum, and nobody can put you in gear. You have to do that for yourself. And when you learn how to get yourself going, then few things will ever stop you after that point. And so this really is an unstoppable value, a unstoppable strategy to help you lead yourself into the future. And learning just those little cues and triggers and habits to help you have a good start really makes a difference. I'm thinking about if you're in track or you're running, you know, if you are late, even by a few seconds, it really could cost you the entire game. So the way you start does matter. And I want to help you get started and have good, strong starts in different key areas of your life and your leadership. So we talked about how to get yourself going in the morning, and now we're talking about how to get yourself going with your work day. And it really matters to me. This is something I'm thinking about and practicing a lot, and I want to pass it on to you as well. So just to kick it off, I want to hit a quote from a legendary leader, Michael Hyatt. He says, "You can't take care of anyone else unless you first take care of yourself." Man, I think that really sums up prepare to go there, embracing a lifestyle of preparation, knowing that others are going to be counting on us to show up ready. But really, this applies to your work as well. This applies to the job you do. That if you're trying to set a good example, if you're trying to, crush your goals and lead others with a relational influence, you really can't show up like a hot mess. You have to be organized, and you have to start by taking care of yourself. And when you've got your, kind of off stage work put together, then all of your on stage leading will just happen much more effectively, more efficiently. So I'm going to give you some ideas. And the first one is a question. I'd love to just kind of get the chat rolling with this. If you're watching live, go ahead and say hi in the chat. Tell me where you're watching from, and welcome to all the future friends for sure. But I want to know, how long does it take you to really get into a flow at work? Like for real, like from the time you get started to the time you feel like you're in that groove, how long do you think it takes? And I know that this is, a ballpark answer, but what I have found in my own experience and with working with other teams is, ironically, it could take easily, you know, 40 minutes, 60 minutes, sometimes up to an hour or two just to get into the first real part of the workday. And man, that is such a just a leak in the boat, so to speak. You're losing so much time, so much momentum. And I'm convinced that the way you start really does make a difference. And so, what I'm attempting is to focus on that first 1 or 2 hours in your workday. And we want to make it as efficient and then as effective as possible, because it will create this trajectory that will really take you into the rest of the week if you're doing your part. And so, the big idea for this whole conversation today is, if you want to get yourself going with your workday, You have to get yourself going with a plan. You can't just show up and wait for someone else to tell you what to do. Because even if you have a manager or some sort of, person you're reporting to, even they don't want to micromanage you. I mean, maybe there's a few, oddballs out there and they actually enjoy it, but that's not cool and that's not okay. And you can actually break away from that dysfunctional work time relationship if you will, prove that you can be trusted and you prove that you'll remember the things that were talked about or expected and that you actually lead yourself, you manage your time well. And so don't expect for other people to have a plan because I promise you, if you don't have a plan, other people will claim your time. Other things will come up. And it normally comes up on your phone, in email, in some sort of messenger like Slack. We're constantly getting bombarded with other people's priorities. And even if we're in some sort of service-based industry, we still have to learn how to lead ourselves, how to manage our time, how to notice where our, emotional energy is going. So that way, when we show up, we're bringing the best of us and not the rest of us from yesterday or last week or whenever. So get yourself going with a plan. And this could be, something a little bit more abstract, like you're just kind of journaling about what kind of day, what kind of work day you want to have, or it could be a little more detail oriented, like an actual planner, a daily planner where step by step what you're trying to accomplish that day. But get yourself going by making your own plan for the work you do. Now, I think a lot of people they start that plan at the to-do list level, but there's actually different levels of work, different levels of progress. And so, I would say at the base level, you have tasks, you have actions that you're trying to accomplish. Things like I need to respond to that person. They left a voice message and I need to reach back out to them, or I'm out of, you know, this supply. I need to restock, or I need to go follow up on where that mail delivery went. I think it got delivered to the wrong place again. Let me go chase that package down. Um, but those are just miscellaneous tasks that kind of show up, and we have to take a step higher than that. So above tasks, you actually have these commitments, these recurring commitments. Might be meetings, it might be due dates that you know about. They keep coming again and again, and those kind of create the overall shape of your work week. You know what to expect, and as long as you're showing up ready, then for more or less, you're going to have a great week. But then you have some things even above those, right? So you have your tasks, then you have the commitments that you've already made, and then above that, you have your projects. And these projects, they're bigger projects. You can't get them done in one day or even one week. You kind of have to break them down into, work sessions, and you're chipping away at it a little at a time. Sometimes you can, get it done in that work week with your team. Sometimes you're actually working on that project more like homework. You're doing it while you're at home, and you're kind of, or at least you're doing it on your own, and then you're bringing it to your team, or you're bringing it to the workplace, you're bringing it to others to present it, to launch it, um, to lead it, to give it away. And so projects are good. Projects really help us move forward with our mission or shared vision, but projects are difficult to fit into that weekly workflow if we haven't anticipated it ahead of time. And particularly if you're already in, an organization that's bigger or more developed, maybe it has more staff, maybe there are specific people that can help with, project management or HR, or you have managers or whatever, and there's like multiple tiers. you know, the way that they've scaled is probably by building in systems and training and documentation to kind of help with those things. And so that's really good. And I think you can learn from that, but you can't really lean on that completely because, to be effective and to be an emerging leader today, you're going to have self leadership as one of your main go-to tools. Self leadership is what's going to really separate you. That ability to take initiative, that ability to be intentional with the work, that ability to collaborate well with others. Um, that is going to be a make or break indicator for your leadership moving forward. And so don't wait on other people. Even if all of those systems are there, you can, ride the wave, so to speak, but you still have to do your own surfing. I don't know if that metaphor made sense or not, but okay. Another thing I would say is don't walk in to yesterday's work. This is one of the first and easiest forms of self-sabotage. It's happens all the time. It's so easy. Basically, we work too long, we overwork, and then we run out of time or energy or both, and we just kind of collapse. Our workflow just kind of breaks down right there in the moment, and it's kinda like if uh, you got a phone call and it said, "Hurry, hurry, run and help me," and you just drop and run, or maybe you're super hungry and someone says, "Hey, do you wanna go eat now or never?" You're like, "Yeah, all right, let's go." And that's basically what we do with our work. Now, maybe it's not literally, but it it can happen digitally, where files are still everywhere on our desktop, or the things we're working on, they didn't really get organized. They didn't, get sorted through. Things that could have been deleted weren't. Things that could have been labeled weren't. I'm not like a super neat freak in that area, but one of the first signs of self-sabotage in your productivity is that you don't actually close down the day. You don't actually finish. And it's very understandable because a lot of just the rhythm of life with our, you know, internet savvy world is, you know, continuously connected. And so we don't really have these clean start or stops anyways. And so it just kind of bleeds over. And so what happens is we don't know how to really stop our day effectively, how to, pack things up, whether that's literally or digitally. And then what happens is we walk into that the next day. And so you're actually starting with a deficit. You're not starting at like 0 or, 1 or 2 or 10. You're starting at like a -2 or a -4 or a -17, and all of this catch up work is just sitting in your workspace. And so now we're not even motivated to go back because we're pretty much dreading or avoiding all of the work that we didn't get to, all of the messages that we didn't reply to, all of the things that happened, in the past day to week to month. And then what happens is we show up and we don't even process it, we just overlook it, and we step over it in order to do the next emergency. And so that's where you'll have coworkers or team members, and they like have an inbox with hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of messages that haven't been properly processed. And what that says is all of that emotional energy is still going out in all of those directions. And so what you want to do is just be organized. Like organize your work life, organize your workflow, and have all that kind of processed so that way you don't have to walk into yesterday's work. Now take the opposite, right? If that's the direction of procrastination, well, then go in the opposite direction towards preparation. What would that look like? Well, basically, that would be where you weren't, just dropping and running whenever you were exhausted, maxed out of time, out of your wits, whatever. But instead, you're actually finishing your projects early, you're finishing your tasks on time, and you're actually buffering enough time to get everything processed, packaged up, done, good. And then you're thinking about how to get ahead. You're thinking about what to work on next. You're thinking about how you'll make tomorrow a success. And you can actually set yourself up for success. Things like automation or email, drafts that have been made and ready to go out. Um, this is a lot of fun to actually design your work from more of a I don't know, top down view. And I don't mean bureaucratic top down. I just mean more of like a high level look. You can kind of see the big picture, and then you can see how it all integrates together. Okay, so don't walk into yesterday's work. Be productive day by day, finish it off, have a definition for done, and then you can be proactive for the next day. Man, if you could put in like, 5 minutes at the end of the workday just to set yourself up for success the next day. I don't know the exact, metric. I don't know how to quantify it, but I would imagine that you could actually like 5x or 10x that time. I don't know how it works, but it's like 5 minutes of thinking ahead the day before is like 30 minutes or 60 minutes, of productive good work time the next day. And so I just imagine, what if you could spend 30 minutes, of setting yourself up for success? What if you could put an hour in and get a whole week of organized, productive work coming out of it? So just be thinking about that. Don't walk into yesterday's work. The next thing I want you to be thinking about is practice the boring basics to work faster. Practice the boring basics to work faster. What do I mean? Well, there's stuff that we do all day, every day. This is where we lose the most time. We lose the most time with the mindless work, not the mindful work. We need more time to focus on the mindful work, to focus on the things that are actually evoking our creativity and, calling to our strengths and really challenging us to be critical thinkers and problem solvers. And what happens is we waste our time, we waste our energy on stupid, low level, low friction, frustrating things. And we've got to keep that in check. And so one of the ways we can do that is by identifying what does that little checklist look like, and then how can we make it faster? If we do this thing every day, like if these are the 4 to 10 things, 5 to 10 things we do every day. I know I have to do these things every day. Maybe I could batch it. Maybe I could automate it. Maybe I could delegate something. But how do I actually attack those action steps so that way they don't dominate most of my workday, but I've figured out a way to be more efficient with the things that have to happen on a daily basis. These are those recurring commitments, those repeatable processes that we know about. We can actually design our own workflows so that way when we show up to, do that project or do those tasks, it feels more like a workflow and less like a workout. It's not like this uphill battle. It's something that we've actually customized, and we know what to expect and we know how to excel. And so just practice those basics again and again. We take that stuff for granted and we waste so much time. We got all these big air pockets, and we've got to just, condense it, and we've got to be practicing. How can I do the things I already know to do faster and better every time? When you're just working on the fundamentals of your own workflow, your own skill sets, you can level up, you can get better, you can get faster, and put in a little R&D time just in that area and say, I really don't think all this stuff should be taking me 2 hours. Maybe I could shave off, 30 minutes. Maybe I could shave off an hour. How could I, batch this work, maybe do some of this on more of a monthly rhythm, then a weekly rhythm or even a daily rhythm? How could I restructure some of my time or some of my meetings? Let me try to negotiate some of that. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't work, but I don't want to be spending the majority of my time on things that are expected, things that just keep happening again and again. I want to be putting more of my time on the bigger projects so that way I can kind of chisel away and make progress a little bit faster on that front as well. The next thing I want to encourage you to try is to try using a work journal. Man, this has been a real game changer for me. I've enjoyed using a work journal. And this is different than a journal. And what I mean by that is I do have a journal where I'm processing life and I'm, putting in prayers and I'm just kind of storytelling the year. And so that's kind of different, but a work journal is just for work. And so for me, what's been working is I keep a notebook in Evernote and I actually track my time with my projects and I can know where my time went. And this is super helpful when you're doing a weekly planning session or when you're goal setting again, even just to kind of keep yourself on track. Now, this has to be a running commitment. It's not just a one and done thing. You have to, make this commitment to say, I want to know where my time is going. And you may say, I'm just going to keep a work journal for 1 week just as a diagnostic experiment, just learning about how to better schedule your time. That's cool. But I think you might actually get into it, particularly if you're doing some sort of creative work or you're able to, have it right then and there. If you're in the field, or again, if you're in a work environment that has like a lot of team members or a lot of support, you've got a support system, that's cool too. But I'm specifically offering this tactic to people who want to lead themselves better. Having a work journal is a powerful strategy to know where your time goes and to just gently bring yourself back to uh, that focused task list that you know you need to be on. Now, I don't have like a really long, to-do list. I normally pick like, 1 to 3 projects and I just kind of attack them one at a time, but I still need to know where my time is going because if I'm interrupted, I don't want to be assuming, that I spent that time working on that project when really it kind of got shredded into a lot of different directions. So keep a work journal. Now, I'm not talking about, some extreme quantified self where you're literally tracking minute by minute. I like, bullets. I like points, not paragraphs. I'm not trying to overdo it. But what I do like is I want to know specifically, when did I start the workday? When did I stop the workday? And then how much time was in between? If I could find that out for each day, that would be really insightful. But then what I'll like to do is just notice the natural flow of my day. And so maybe I just kind of jump in, and this is an amazing skill set to practice. Practice summarizing what you've done, and then practice strategizing what you want to do next. If you can kind of get into those two headspaces, all right, summarize at a very like bottom line level. Just not don't go into all the details of what happened and how you felt and what they said and what you said and here's the screenshot and all that stuff. Instead, just summarize email or summarize project one, and you name it, or just summarize um, got off track or phone call. I mean, just kind of like a natural register for yourself. And what you'll notice is you'll begin to see a story emerge, and then you'll get more understanding about how to improve your workflow overall. So I'm a big fan for work journals. And there's a lot more that I could say. I'll save it for a very fun project I'm working on with you, the future friends in mind. So, the last thing I'll say is to take it one step at a time. I said that yesterday, take it one step at a time whenever you're getting yourself going in the morning and you kind of like get sluggish or you hit a wall and you don't know what to do next. Just go back and take your morning routine one step at a time and make sure that you really understand the why and the how behind each of those steps. But I want to take it from a different angle today. When it comes to your work and getting yourself going with the workday, take it one step at a time. In other words, don't try to blast off in, four different directions. Be willing to commit to one task or one project or one function at a time. I know it's fun to just kind of turn everything on at once, to open up multiple tabs, to have multiple screens happening. You got stuff on your phone and stuff on your computer and stuff on the email client behind that or whatever messenger app you're using. And then you got all this stuff. But I would really challenge you to try to really chart a course that lets you go further. And you don't do that by going in a lot of directions. You do that by knocking out one checkpoint at a time or going from one project to a time, one thing to another. All right, so I hope that makes sense. Be practicing one thing at a time. And you're like, what's the use in that? The truth is, the quality of your work probably isn't that good if you are task switching or if you're multitasking like that. So instead, just be committed, try to get to the finish line of whatever step or stage you're on, and then you can naturally break or break away and do something else. Y'all, I hope that this was helpful for you. There's a lot more we can talk about, but if you want to get yourself going with the workday, number one, you've got to plan it yourself. There's an old quote. It says, plan your work and then you can work your plan. The main thing behind that is be intentional. You have to set the course of your day. Otherwise, everyone else will. Don't start just by reacting to everybody else. Start with something intentional, and then you can go into some of those other ideas like, having a work journal, practicing the boring basics, and just have more of a design thinking approach to the workflow that you have. A lot of people, they're working in a certain process or in a certain system. They're showing up, they're doing X, Y, and Z. But also take times like Future Friday when you can zoom out and you can look at the quality of your work overall, and then you can better design the way you want to work in general. I am finished. I really appreciate you being on this extended coaching journey. We're taking little topics here and there, and we're just going to keep, compounding them into a lifestyle of preparation. If you think this was really helpful, it would help me to subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this video with a friend, let them know that the future friends are waiting on them. And then download that free fail-proof planning guide. You can put in your name, email, and download it instantly. Remember, you're going places, and because of it, you better prepare to go there. I'll be back tomorrow with another round of Get Yourself Going, and it's all about really getting yourself going with a lifestyle of consistency. How do you become a more consistent person? How do you develop consistency in front of other people, like when you're leading a team or a family or people online? It all adds up, and I'm going to help you get there. Loud, stay awesome, and I'll see you tomorrow.